Hello, and welcome to LSET Tech Byte. Today we're going to learn how to create a simple QR code reader using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is a great project for beginners looking to enhance their web development skills. So let's dive in. Let's start by looking at our HTML file. We'll go through this line by line to understand each part. At the top, we have the doctype HTML declaration. This tells the browser that we're using HTML5. Next, we have the opening HTML tag with attributes lang for English. Inside the head tag, we start with the meta character set UTF-8. This sets the character encoding for the document to UTF-8, ensuring that it can display any character correctly. The title QR code reader title tag sets the title of our web page, which appears in the browser tab. The meta name viewport content width device width initial scale tag ensures that our web page is responsive and adjusts properly on different devices. Now moving on to the body of the document inside the body tag. We have a div class wrapper tag. This wrapper will contain all the elements of our QR code reader. Inside the wrapper, we start with a form element, where the action attribute specifies that the form will not submit data anywhere. We have an input type file hidden tag. This input element allows users to upload a file, but it is hidden from view because we will trigger it using a button. Next, we have an img src alt QR code tag. This image element will display the uploaded QR code. Following that, we have a div class content tag. This content division will contain our upload icon and instructions. We also include a link to the Font Awesome library. Font Awesome provides us with icons that we will use in our project. We have a style.css tag. This links our HTML to the CSS file where we will style our web page. Inside the content div, we have an icon iClass FASFA Cloud Upload I. This uses Font Awesome to display a cloud upload icon. We also have a P upload QR code to read P. This paragraph provides instructions to the user. Moving on outside the form element, we have another div class details tag. This division will show the decoded text from the QR code. Inside the details div we have a text area, spell check false disabled text area. This text area is disabled and will display the decoded text from the QR code. Next, we have another div class buttons tag. This division contains buttons to close the details and copy the decoded text. Inside the buttons div we have two buttons. The first button class close button will allow users to close the details section. The second button class copy text button will copy the decoded text to the clipboard. Finally, we include a script src script.js script tag. This links our HTML to the JavaScript file where the functionality of our QR code reader is implemented. That's the HTML code for our code reader. Now it's time to dive into CSS code for making our QR code reader visually appealing and user-friendly. First, we have the universal selector. This selector targets all elements on the page. We set the margin and padding to 0 to remove any default spacing. We also set box sizing border box to ensure that padding and borders are included in the element's total width and height. Finally, we specify a default font family using font family Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif. Next, we style the body element. We set the background color to black with background, giving our web page a dark background. Moving on, we style the wrapper class. We set its height to 270 pixels and width to 420 pixels. We center it using margin 200 pixel auto. We also give it rounded corners with border radius 7 pixel, a white background with background and padding of 30 pixels on the top and sides and 35 pixels on the bottom. The transition height 0.2 SE's property ensures a smooth height change. We also add a subtle shadow using box shadow. We add an active class to the wrapper for when the QR code reader is active. This class sets the height to auto, allowing it to expand as needed. Next, we style the form inside the wrapper. We set its height to 210 pixels and use DisplayFlex to enable Flexbox layout. We add cursor pointer to change the cursor on hover and user select none to prevent text selection. We center the content using text align center, give it rounded corners with border radius 7 pixel and a transparent background. We also center the content using align item center and justify content center. The transition, height 0.2 SE's, ensures a smooth height change. Finally, we add a dashed border with border 2 pixel dashed black. When the form is active indicated by the active class, we increase its height to 225 pixels and disable pointer events with pointer events none. We then style the img inside the form. Initially, we set display none to hide the image. When the form is active, the image is displayed with display block. We also set a maximum width of 148 pixels using max width 148 pixels. When the form is active, we hide the content div inside the form using display none. We style the icon inside the content div with black color to make it black and set its font size to 55 pixels with font size 55 pixels. We style the paragraph inside the content div. We set the text color to black and add a top margin of 15 pixels and set the font size to 18 pixels. We style the details div initially. We set opacity 0 to hide it and pointer events none to disable interactions. We also add a top margin of 25 pixels with margin top 25 pixels. When the details div is active, we set opacity 1 to make it visible and enable interactions with pointer events auto. We also add a smooth opacity transition with transition opacity 0.5 SEs. We style the text area inside the details div. We set its width to 100% and height to 128 pixels. We remove the outline disable resizing and set the text color to black. We set the font size to 18 pixels and remove the background. We give it rounded corners with border radius 5 pixel, add padding of 10 pixels on the top and bottom and 15 pixels on the sides with padding 10 pixel 15 pixel. We also add a black border of 1 pixel. We set the scroll bar width to 5 pixels with width 5 pixel. We set the scroll bar track to be transparent with background none and style the scroll bar thumb with a white background and rounded corners. We style the buttons div inside the details div. We use display flex to enable flexbox layout, add a top margin of 20 pixels and center the items using align items, center and justify content space between. We also set the flex direction to column and add a gap of 10 pixels. We style the buttons inside the buttons div. We set their height to 55 pixels. Remove the outline and border and set the font weight to 500 and font size to 16 pixels. We change the cursor to a pointer on hover. We set the text color to white and give the buttons rounded corners with border radius 5 pixel. We set the background to black and add a smooth transform transition and make the buttons full width with width 100%. When the buttons are active, we apply a scale transformation with transform scale 0.95 to create a click effect. And now let's add functionality and interactivity to our QR code reader with JavaScript. We start by selecting the necessary elements from our HTML. First, we select the wrapper using document.querySelector.wrapper and the form element using document.querySelectorForm. We then select the file input inside the form using form.querySelectorInput and the paragraph element for displaying information using form.querySelector. Next, we select the Close button using document.querySelector.close and the Copy button using document.querySelector.copy. We define a function named fetchRequest. This function takes a file and forms data as parameters. Inside this function, we set the text of the info text paragraph to scanning QR code. We then use the Fetch API to send a POST request to the QR code reading API HTTP API.qrserver.com/v1/read QR code. We pass the form data in the request body. When the response is received, we convert it to JSON format using then resres.json. We then extract the QR code data from the result using result.symbol.data. We update the info text paragraph to upload QR code to scan if the QR code is successfully scanned or couldn't scan QR code if it fails. If the QR code is successfully scanned, we display the result in the text area element and set the src attribute of the img element to the URL of the uploaded file. We also add the active class to the wrapper to make the details section visible. If there's an error during the fetch request, we catch it and set the info text paragraph to couldn't scan QR code. Next, we add an event listener to the file inp element. When a file is selected, we check if a file exists. If it does, we create a new form data object and append the file to it. We then call the fetchRequest function, passing the file and form data as argument. We add a click event listener to the copy button. When clicked, it copies the text content from the text area to the clipboard using navigator.clipboard.writeText. We also add a click event listener to the form. When the form is clicked, it triggers a click event on the hidden file input using file inp.click. Finally, we add a click event listener to the close button. When clicked, it removes the active class from the wrapper, hiding the details section. And that's how we add functionality to our QR code reader using JavaScript. With this code, users can upload a QR code image, scan it, and view the decoded text. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tutorials. See you in the next video.